What's up, y'all? Before this video starts, let me just point out a couple things. Number one, yes, I'm aware I've got some stuff on my face. If the Nets aren't going to take the time to go out there and put forth an effort to win games, I'm not going to take the time to put forth effort to look presentable. I do have a nice Nets Republic shirt on, though, you feel me? And if you're interested in having any of that, click the link in the description, get you some Nets Republic merch. That's not here nor there. So that's housekeeping. Let's do some other surface level stuff before we really dig deep, because the Nets have lost 8 straight games. So we've got something, we have to have some real conversations. And y'all aren't gonna like this, but it is what it is. So you just have to take it. Sorry. I am uncomfortable with the fact that Jokic is just walking around freely on Earth. I'm not saying like anything should, but it just makes me uncomfortable. There is a Morris twin who has not come back yet. The season is halfway over, and one of the Morris twins is still in critical care because of Jokic. And I just feel like if the roles were reversed, Mans would be behind bars, but that's not a that's just made me a little bit uncomfortable. And watching Jokic just freely out there doing whatever he does, it's just like, oh. So we're just going to forget about that, but that's not there. So now that we've gotten all the surface level stuff out the way, we're going to immediately get into the shenanigans. The Nets have lost 8 games in a row. Something needs to be done. And the gymnastic, I'm not even going to say mental gymnastics because it's just regular gymnastics. I know it's the Winter Olympics right now, but it sure feels like it's last summer all of a sudden. Just the verbal somersaults, the backhand springs, it's getting to be a little much for me. The way they had Ryan say on the mic last night, even Sarah didn't even know what to say. The way Ryan got on there and say, up, we're getting an announcement from the anonymous GM. Getting on there saying that a Nets representative told him that James Harden is in the back getting treatment, and that's why he's not on the bench. First of all, let's dissect that. Ryan, you are a Nets representative. What are you talking about? Whether he said spokesman or representative, Ryan Rukos and Sarah Kustok are the definition of that. Michael Grady, that is literally your job. Who are you lying to? That's like if Joe Biden got out there and said, well, I want to let you know that the commander-in-chief of the United States has said, oh, COVID ain't going nowhere. Sir, that's you, my God. Who are you lying to? Who? Was it Sean Marks on the headphones? Was it Sean Marks pulling a Vince McMahon, Mick Foley, in the headphones mid-commentary? Is that what that was? That Vince in the back? Is that what's going on? Who y'all lying to here? Maybe that went over someone else's head, but I'm sitting there laying in bed on my phone like, huh? And in the back getting treatment, they were in Denver. The Denver training staff is working on Harden in the back? Definitely not the pop-up shop crew. Absolutely not. The road medical staff is working on Harden, possibly the reason why he's allegedly hurt. The pop-up shop crew on the road? You ain't lying to me. Claxton has the exact same alleged injury, but Mans is on the sideline cheering for the team. Joe Harris travels around and he needs a second opinion for a second surgery and he's on the bench? I'll give Kevin Durant an excuse because he's God. He can do whatever he wants, sure. But Mr. Harden, who his brand is be a walking billboard for high-class, fancy clothing none of us can ever afford on the sidelines of games when he's not active? Remember when Mans said he couldn't move his hand in the Golden State game and you saw homie in the trash bag suit with the hand brace on looking like Tim Hardaway Jr.? But you're telling me a mild hamstring, whatever they say, and they're using terminology to where they're out there freestyling. Reminds me of me in my high school days, just up there just making stuff up. Martin Luther King had a dream. So I feel like we all have dreams, So we are all iconic. A plus? Bet. The way they describe what's going on with Harden is like a teenager giving a presentation when you know they didn't do the research. They're out there saying stuff like it's tightness, but it's like there's no tear, but it's like possibly inflamed, but it's not viral. It's what are you talking about? Why are you lying? Have you ever read the copy on a generic social media post where they just need to like fill stuff in like TV or something like that? That's what it was. Like monkey on the keyboard type stuff. Who are you lying to? Who are you lying to? Who are you? I ain't got the auto-tune, so it ain't sound that good, but you know what I mean. Who are you lying to? I'm gonna say it. Harden is purposefully sitting out trying to get out of here. And I understand that Steve Nash said post-game and pre-game he's not going anywhere. We continue to reiterate that James Harden's not going anywhere. Really? Really? If he was allegedly there, why didn't he get on camera post-game and say anything? Is there a clause that says only active players can speak to the media? Is that what's going on? Because with the circus that is I'm talking Britney Spears before the court stuff, after she shaved her head, but before the court stuff, Britney Spears circus type stuff that is spinning around the team. You are telling me James Harden had no interest in coming out there. The man hasn't even tweeted anything. And you know James Harden is captain. I will promote myself for the bag. How many times has this man tweeted out like crazy stuff, like like plastic cups or like a Roomba, like, I know whenever I get home, my Roomba gets the job done. I mean, this man is a walking billboard. He looks like the back of the old, WNBA jerseys with all the advertising. He looks like a NASCAR with all the advertising on him. It's like watching a YouTube video with all the ads on it. I don't know who the Nets are lying to, but I think it's safe to assume this man has 3 feet out the door, and we'll just keep it at that. But that's not here or there. We'll focus on the game. Practice. We're talking about the game, right? Okay, cool. I'm being too negative. Let's talk about the game. Sure, let's do it. Let's not speculate. Let's talk about things that are factual. Factual, you can't win games with just Kyrie Irving. I don't know who needs to hear that. And I've been real nice to Kai. I ain't say a word. Now, I have blamed him for this whole Lupe fiasco, and I will continue to do so. And that's the hill I'm dying on. But as far as his on-court production, I haven't said a word. I've been very nice. He's been playing like trash the last couple games. I ain't say nothing. He ain't even play well in the Chicago game, and I ain't say nothing. But enough is enough. And I mean, him missing a foul shot, which is insane for him, is showing that he's been in a little bit of a slump. But even if he's not, and that man hypothetically went out there and dropped, 30, right? On top of the 22 that he scored. So you would add, just quick math, you'd add like 10 points maybe. Let's just round it up to 10. We'll say we'll add 10 more extra points that Kyrie took. We're not going to subtract other shots from other people because that would be realistic. But in a fantasy world, let's just pretend like Kyrie dropping 30 adds 10 more points onto our ending total. It doesn't, but let's pretend like it does. If we do like just nasty stuff in our minds to ignore logic and say we were adding 10 more points onto the ending score, we still lose by 15. You can't win. You can't win with just Kyrie Irving. And this whole thing that everyone has been going on, and ever since I've been on Nets Republic, I've been trying to explain this. It's not like adding Kyrie solves everything. That only works if all 3 of them are playing. But if you only have some variation of the 3 or just one of them, it does not work with Kai. It just just doesn't. We've been waiting for a stretch of games where he can be out there for a long period of time. I believe he's played 5 straight games on this road trip, and we lost every one of them. Because, and I'll say for the 9 millionth time, Kyrie alone does not equate to wins. And 3 years of this we should know this by now. He's got to be coupled with a Kevin Durant. He's got to be coupled with a James Harden who actually feels like trying. You have to have some form of that, because him by himself is not going to be enough. He's got to be out there with a Tatum. He's got to be out there with a Jaylen Brown. And I know y'all don't want to hear that, but it's the facts. So him talking about this hypothetical world where I guess he just prays hard enough or says please the right amount of times, and the vaccine mandates in a state, not the league, in a state will randomly be flipped because Kyrie said pretty please. Because Kyrie waited for a certain star alignment in the sky to materialize. Orion's belt is also matching the Egyptian hieroglyphics of the East, and those two came together to form Eden of the East. And Netflix and Hulu and Crunchyroll came together and said we will merge to have an Eden of the East convention, which would probably need a vaccine mandate, but that's neither here nor there. So Kyrie can't even go to the metaphorical example I'm making, but that's neither here nor there. Even if they lift it and say, you know what, Kyrie, go ahead, go out there. You'll have a special pass because you're New York's favorite child. If that makes sense in his mind, sure. Even if all that happens, we're still losing these games. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I know it seems like I'm just hating, but this is the reality. This is the facts. We still lose, even if he's out there by himself. Because I'll take it further. If our next game is a home game, I don't remember what it is, but if it is a home game, and Harden is still hurt, who's playing? Who's playing? If it's a home game, Kyrie can't play. But even if they lifted the mandates, okay, Kyrie can play. But we just saw what happens when it's just Kyrie. It's an L for me. It's the L's for me. If you're in the camp that is not totally turned off by Harden allegedly abandoning us, and on some which Ben Simmons is on some Harden, so I don't even know how we make this comparison. So I guess on some Houston Harden, I guess we did get Houston Harden after all, because this man is literally tanking himself. He is sabotaging the team and holding us hostage to get rid of him, allegedly. But even if you can look past that and say, well, that's not the case, it's just a misunderstanding. He said he's not going anywhere. The team says he's not going anywhere. If you believe that, sure, if you can get past all of that, let's say this man comes back. What is our success rate with just Harden this year? I'll wait. When the league eventually figured out that it's just ISO KD and Harden runs the pick and roll, what happened to the combination of just Kevin Durant and Harden? We're fast forwarding to Kevin Durant comes back. Now it's just Harden and KD. What was the success rate of that after teams eventually figured out what we're doing? I'll wait. Kyrie should have been the one traded. If you get rid of Kai and you get back someone at least in that general range, be it a Ben Simmons, be it a Kristaps Porzingis, be it a other somewhat star in that realm on a big contract, if you're able to bring that person back to this team I'm not saying I want this individual. I'm just thinking in my mind of who is making a lot of money, who would be a trade that we can make. Say a Julius Randle. I'm not saying I want Julius, but I'm just throwing out there names of people on big contracts that maybe don't like where they're at or something like that, right? I know you've stopped listening, but please just follow me, okay? Please just follow where I'm going with this logic. If you would have made that trade, it doesn't matter what Harden is. It doesn't matter what Harden's doing. We've got a point guard that has potential to be a superstar if he feels like it. You've still got Kevin Durant. And if something happens to those two, you have got an all-star, maybe not a superstar, but an all-star that is able to play every single game unless they get hurt. And the chances of all three of them getting hurt are pretty small. So maybe the Kristaps Porzingis one was a bad idea, but you know what I mean. I'm just naming people with big contracts. But with Kyrie, you not only have someone who is legally not able, I can't stress this enough because we have normalized this insanity long enough. You have someone who is legally not able to play every game. And when he does play, we lose anyway. If we would have just traded Kyrie to begin with, get someone back, we would be in a much better position currently. Would it have been amazing? Maybe not, but I guarantee you we wouldn't be the 7th seed. Yes, the Brooklyn Nets are the 7th seed right now. This is beyond a panic button. We are literally in the play-in tournament. I'm talking we're 2 wins away from being out of the playoffs. We're about to get lapped by the Hawks. Meanwhile, Karis LeVert and Jared Allen have been reunited in Cleveland. Just having fun over there in the 4th seed. Last night, let's switch over to the positives. Last night, I saw Steve Nash draw a play. So that was cool. He called Kyrie over. He whispered something in his ear. Kyrie did like this. Steve Nash said, "Yo." And then he went, okay. Then he walked on court. He went over to Patty Mills. He went like this. Patty Mills went back. He said, "Huh?" I said, "Yeah." And then they all started doing like this. And I was like, oh, they're planning something. They're planning something. I don't know what it is, but they're planning something. I want to see where this goes. Come down the court. Patty gets the ball, bringing the ball up court. Patty starts going like this. Which I think is just so crazy how like pro athletes can like be dribbling a ball and be doing this like that type of hand-eye coordination is insane. Like I'm just a rapper, I can't do none of that, but this motion is insane. It's like the whole thing of you rub your head and like what? That's crazy. So Patty's going like this, right? As he's going down the court, he's going like this. And then you see a bunch of cutting, and I'm not exactly sure what happened. I got kind of distracted. I think I sneezed or something like that, and my eyes closed. But when I open my eyes again, I see the ball is like flying over to James Johnson, and James Johnson is cutting across like the very middle of like the mid-range, like in front of the I don't know what that's called, but like right in front of the basket, right? He's wide open, pulls up, he breaks because he's James Johnson. But it's like, oh, look at that. That's some form of a play. Cool. You also saw Cam Thomas in the corner with his hands out like this, waiting for the ball. So cool if whoever is taking this shot attracts a double team or something or some form of attention. You got an open Cam Thomas in the corner to shoot, or maybe that could be Patty or Joe Harris or something like that. Like, so it's like, okay, that's cool. I saw a play. That's the first time this season I've seen an actual play. So that made me feel good for like a second because it's like, okay, Steve is trying. I will give him that for trying. Same thing with Kyrie's offensive performance. While I stand by him alone is not enough to win a game, which like history tells you that. That's not even me hating, but I respect the fact that Kyrie tries. I mean, he'll go 10 for 45, and it's like, well, he tried. Whereas Harden will like attempt 2 shots, period, in a whole half, and then end up with like 10 shot attempts, and he only scored like 3. So it's like, I respect Kyrie for trying. He's just not good enough. And God, I know that sounds like extreme hate, but that's 2 different things. Harden giving up on the team and Kyrie just not being a superstar is 2 different things. That's 2 completely different things. I put Kyrie in that DeMar DeRozan category, in the Paul George category, where it's like they're not exactly superstars, but you would love to have them on your team at some point as like a dope number 2. That's where I put Kyrie. And it's not Kyrie's fault that he's that. Just like it was never Paul George's fault that he was that. But Harden is that elite, allegedly, is that elite tier where there's just no excuse for this type of stuff. It's like, let me stop. Anyway, that's your positive for Steve Nash. Here comes the negative for Steve Nash. Again, James Harden's not out there, so we don't have a coach. So our alleged coach, Steve Nash, is out there, and he's just letting James Johnson run wild. And I've got a personal rule. I don't know if I've shared it to you on Nets Republic, but I've got a personal rule I live by, where if you have a neck tattoo, I'll never talk trash about you. However, this man is pushing it, and I have no choice. James Johnson is out there running wild like Hulkamania in the 80s. And it's just like, somebody needs to do something. Tell him stop, please. The fact that, and I know we're running out of options because there's so many people either not with the team by choice, Mr. Paul Millsap, by choice, allegedly, Mr. James Harden, allegedly. You're running out of options of people to play, period. So I get why he's out there, but I just don't understand why he has a green light to do whatever he wants. James Johnson offensively has been terrible. And I feel like we all assumed the addition of James Johnson was what DeMarcus Cousins is, but that's just not the case. Maybe the alleged toughness, but that's about it. You know, ironically, having Paul Millsap out there would be helping right now, but we won't get into that. We don't have enough time. Another example of just management failing us, and I think this is game number 4 in a row where we're seeing another team center, and we're like, could have had him too. DeMarcus Cousins, anyone? Do I still sound crazy now? DeMarcus Cousins, anyone? You tell me who was stopping him tonight, and then you can tell me I'm crazy for wanting DeMarcus Cousins in our locker room. When you tell me who on our team was able to stop him, then I will listen to, oh, what would that do to the locker room, Sever? Go. Tell me who stopped him. Go. Because I'm sick of playing with y'all. Tell me who stopped him. Exactly. I see why Dora the Explorer did this back in the day, because even if you're making a good point, I can't hear you. The power I have right now. I'm God modding. The only positive I got from this game is Blake Griffin was hitting threes. And what a magical night it is when that man decides to hit a 3. I don't believe he scored after the second quarter, but it was cool for the first half. Leading score. That was fun, I guess. But see, even the issue with that is like, he's still not being used properly. Blake Griffin ISO at the top of the key along the arc, that's not a play. That's just a Blake Griffin ISO where he like pump fakes, dribbles it between his legs without moving his pivot foot. I don't know how he did that either, but that's not even there. Pull up for three on Jokic, like that's not a play. That's ISO Blake for three. Maybe get him rolling to the basket, backdoor cut, give it to him down low in the post, maybe. Or that cool little thing they did for James Johnson, where it's like somebody, cuts, sets a screen, Blake is somehow wide open. Like everything that like Aaron Gordon was doing, it's like why can't we just let Blake do that? Like it's just nonsensical to me. And I know Aaron Gordon is a soft spot for a lot of y'all, so I won't continue to talk on that. But like just look at what other teams do, and it's like, why don't we do that? And if you want to play the injury game and the who's available game, like half of the Nuggets starting lineup is in street clothes, right? Very ugly street clothes, but street clothes nonetheless. We could have won this. But it is what it is, I guess. We have lost 8 games in a row. We've had some very difficult conversations on here. We've placed a lot of blames in different places. The unfortunate, I don't want to say reality of the situation because I feel like that's been over. Like reality and narrative has just been done to death, but I don't have any other terms here. So the unfortunate reality of the situation is nothing's going to change. Steve Nash will continue to be our coach. The Nets are probably not going to do anything with Harden, so he'll just pout, I guess, or he gets traded. I don't know or care at this point. And that trade doesn't do anything for us because if you trade Harden for Ben Simmons and Seth Curry, okay, so now we've got 3 Patty Mills, yay, and what's Ben Simmons gonna do exactly? He'll give the ball to Kevin Durant better than Harden does. I don't know how that's solving it. Again, if you just trade Kyrie and you keep everyone else, there's a chance we can save this here. But y'all want to do what you do, go ahead. There's a high chance this only gets worse from here. I highly doubt we miss the playoffs, but it's not looking good. We'll probably be in the play-in, which we might not make it out of that, but we'll at least be in the play-in, I guess. I hope. I don't know. This isn't looking good, y'all. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to make a more explicit version of this video in a second, but for y'all, there you go. This was me being nice. So see you for game number 8 that we lose.